You are born on the southern coast of Peru. The year is roughly 200 CE. Your world is a strip of green between the desert and the Pacific, a ribbon of green in an ocean of sand. Your entire civilization exists within this narrow band. Your ancestors engineered underground aqueducts called pukios, stone-lined channels that tap groundwater and deliver it to the surface. Without them, farming is impossible. Your people are the Nazca. They carve enormous figures into the desert floor that can only be seen from the sky. They weave the finest textiles in the Americas, and they collect human heads. Your pottery is among the finest in the ancient Americas, polychrome painting with up to 15 colors. Your textiles contain over 200 threads per centimeter, finer than anything in medieval Europe. Not metaphorically, not symbolically. Actual human skulls prepared as trophies. A hole drilled through the forehead. A braided cord threaded through for carrying, the lips pinned shut with cactus thorns. The eyes sealed with cloth. This is a Nazca trophy head. You grow up in a village along the river. Beans for protein, squash for calories, peppers for preservation. Your diet is shaped by what the desert allows. The pukios still function today, 2,000 years old, and still delivering water. The pottery tells you what matters in Nazca society. Warriors' heads, the two are inseparable in every image. 6 vessels spanning 4 centuries. Every one shows trophy heads. The obsession never wavered. Even the musical instruments were shaped like trophy heads. The sound came from the dead. You grow up seeing trophy heads on every ceramic, every textile, every wall painting. The trophy head motif is everywhere, woven into clothing, painted on pots, carved into gourds. It is the defining symbol of your civilization. Kawachi, your people's ceremonial capital. 40 ceremonial mounds, no permanent residence. People gather here from across the valleys for festivals. Offering pits at Kawachi, smashed ceramics, trophy heads, bundled textiles, all deliberately destroyed and buried. Archaeologists have found trophy head caches at Kawachi, deliberately buried groups of prepared skulls, placed in ritual contexts alongside offerings of pottery and textiles. These were not random killings. This was organized, ritualized, and central to Nazca identity. You reach adolescence. The training begins. You learn to fight with a stone-headed club and a sling. You learn to throw weighted bolas at running targets. The weapons are simple but effective. Clubs crack bone, slings throw stones with lethal accuracy at 50 meters. The sling braided from cotton and camelid fiber. Lethal at 50 meters, every boy learns. Healed skull fractures in Nazca burials. Club strikes that the victim survived. Combat was common. Your weapons, groundstone club, heads attached to wooden handles. River cobbles for the sling. Each smoothed and selected by hand. The pottery shows what combat looked like. Club strikes to the head, bodies falling. The victor reaching down. The trophy claimed. The ceramics do not sanitize it. The blade, the blood, the moment of separation. All depicted. The museum displays what your world celebrated. Weapons beside heads, violence beside art. The head is the prize. Without it, the battle means nothing. Every warrior knows this. Your first raid approaches. The elders decide when and where you follow. The target is a neighboring valley. The terrain between valleys, rocky ridges, dry washes, no shade. You cross at night, dawn. The moment of attack, the village below is unaware. Speed matters more than numbers. The Nazca drainage contains multiple valleys. Each community controls its own water source. When the rains fail, competition for water becomes competition for survival. Water is life. And the heads prove who controls the water. You take your first head. Now comes the preparation. This is not simple butchery. This is ritual craft. First, the base of the skull is broken away. The brain is removed. The skull is cleaned. Then a hole is drilled through the center of the forehead using a hand-rotated stone drill. The base removed cleanly, not smashed, carefully broken along anatomical weak points. The drill bit obsidian or chert, rotated by hand between the palms. The hole took hours. The drilling is precise. The hole must be centered. Too far to either side weakens the bone. The lips are pinned shut with thorns from the huarango cactus. Some heads show additional sealing with cotton thread. The mouth must be closed. The spirit must be contained. Sealing the mouth traps the spirit inside. An open mouth lets the power escape. The finished trophy head is carried by the cord. It hangs from your belt or around your neck. It accompanies you to ceremonies. It is buried with you when you die. The carrying cord, braided from llama or alpaca fiber, strong enough to support the skull's weight for decades. The figurines show how they were worn. Dangling at the hip, a visible display of power and spiritual authority. You carry the head home. The village greets you. The ceremonies begin. Chicha, fermented corn beer, brewed in enormous decorated vessels, the fuel of every ceremony. The firelight catches the trophy head held aloft. The community gathers. The ritual validates the taking. Music is central to the ceremony. Panpipes, drums, the sounds accompany the rituals for the dead head. And here is where the DNA changes everything you thought you knew about trophy heads. Scientists assumed the heads came from enemies, from foreign raids, from conquered peoples. In 2009, Kelly Knudson's team published isotope analysis of Nazca trophy heads. The strontium and oxygen isotope values matched the local Nazca population. These were not foreign captives. The data points overlapped. Trophy heads and local residents grew up drinking the same water, eating the same food. They came from the same valleys. Two independent isotope systems, strontium and oxygen, both saying the same thing. Local, the conference presentation that rewrote trophy head theory. The data was unambiguous. DNA analysis confirmed the isotopes. The trophy heads shared mitochondrial haplogroups with the surrounding Nazca burial populations. They were not collecting enemy heads. They were collecting their own people's heads. The haplogroup frequencies in trophy heads mirrored the general population. Not a select group, not foreigners, a cross-section of Nazca society. Haplogroup A, haplogroup B, haplogroup C, haplogroup D. Same frequencies in trophy heads and cemeteries. 70% male, 30% female. If this were warfare, female victims would be near zero. The age and sex distribution of trophy heads roughly matched the living population. Men, women, even adolescents. This was not battlefield collection. Families and civilians among the captives. This was not simple warfare. The Nazca believed in a supernatural entity archaeologists call the mythical being. It appears on pottery and textiles holding bundles of trophy heads. It is part human, part animal, part divine. The mythical being represents the cosmic importance of head-taking. Water symbols surround the mythical being. Crops sprout from trophy heads. The cosmology is explicit. The mythical being appears in over 40% of all Nazca representational art. It dominates the visual world. On some ceramics, trophy heads sprout vegetation from their mouths. The dead feed the living. The severed head becomes a seed. Death feeds life. The head becomes a seed. That is the logic of the trophy cult. Trophy heads were not just carried, they were built into architecture, placed beneath floors, deposited in storage rooms. They protected the building and the people inside. Beneath your own house, a head may be buried. Protection from below. The spirit of the dead guarding the living. Doorways, corners, foundation deposits. The heads were placed where protection was most needed. The textiles make the connection explicit. Trophy heads hang from trees like fruit. The harvest and the head hunt are the same act in Nazca cosmology. In your world, Cutting a head from a body is the same as picking fruit from a tree. You die, perhaps in your 30s, perhaps in your 40s. The desert climate preserves your body. You are wrapped in your finest textiles, seated in a flexed position. Your possessions surround you, layer upon layer of woven fabric. Your finest work, your identity wrapped around your body. Modern conservators unwrap what your family wrapped. Each layer recorded, each textile preserved. 3 trophy heads at your feet. Your club beside your hand. Your identity as a warrior confirmed for eternity. Your trophy heads go with you to the afterlife. They serve you there as they served you here. 2,000 years later, the trophy heads are still there. The desert air preserved skin, hair, and carrying cords. Archaeologists find them exactly where you left them. Human hair preserved for 2,000 years. The desert's aridity is the ultimate conservator. Modern archaeology uncovers what you buried, and modern science reads the chemistry and DNA that you could never have imagined. The petrous bone drilled with modern precision. The DNA inside tells the story you never wrote down. Your bones kept the truth for 2,000 years. Now the lab reads what the desert preserved. You were not alone. Trophy head taking was practiced on every inhabited continent. The Celts collected heads in Iron Age Europe. The Javaro shrank them in Ecuador. The Dayak displayed them in Borneo. The practice appears independently across cultures that never contacted each other. The Javaro Sansa shrunk with hot sand, a different technique. Same impulse, same cosmological logic. Celtic heads carved into stone lintels, guardians of doorways. The same protective function as Nazca underfloor deposits. Head taking was universal, but only the Nazca turned it into the center of an entire civilization. Later Andean empires also took trophy heads, but the Wari and Tiwanaku targeted adult male warriors. The Nazca included everyone. The practice meant something different. Your people built the Nazca lines, etched enormous figures into the desert floor, created some of the finest textiles and ceramics in the pre-Columbian Americas, and they collected human skulls as the centerpiece of their spiritual world. The Nazca civilization lasted roughly 800 years. Then it collapsed. Drought, environmental degradation. The rains stopped coming. The rivers shrank. The pukios dried up. The trophy heads could not bring the water back. The geological record shows the drought. Sediment shifts from wet to dry around 650 CE. A dead pukio, the engineering that sustained your civilization for centuries, finally failed when the water table dropped. The heads were supposed to bring fertility. When the drought came, nothing could. Kawachi was abandoned. The ceremonies ended. The last trophy heads were sealed in their caches. The last cache, the last ceremony, the heads sealed underground as the people walked away. 2,000 years later, your trophy heads sit behind museum glass. Tourists photograph them. Researchers sample them. The desert that preserved your world now delivers it to strangers. DNA and isotopes agree. Your trophy heads were your own people. Your rituals were not about conquering foreigners. They were about controlling the forces that kept your world alive. 2 lines of evidence. Same conclusion. The trophy heads were community members, not enemies. Your world was small. Your rituals were vast. You were not collecting enemies. You were feeding the earth with your own community. If this changed how you think about the ancient world, subscribe. We cover the latest ancient DNA research every week. You lived and died on this strip of desert. You took heads and sealed their mouths. Your neighbor's face, preserved in bone and dried skin, carried by your hand, buried at your feet. The valley today, still irrigated, still growing crops. The descendants of your people still live here. The desert kept your secret for 2,000 years. The DNA finally told the truth. Sources for this video are linked in the description below.